Good morning, everyone. So, today we are going to learn what are the factors that are responsible for the successful of the BI projects and what are the obstacles. So, for the successful, the first factor which is responsible is the technology. As we know that technology is changed day by day. Okay, so it involved the very fast and the hardware and software technologies important factor in any system. In BI system, these technologies play significant role which facilitate building successful BI system. So the first thing is the technology. Then the next one is the analytics. So as we know that by using the different kinds of mathematical modeling, we can analyze any kind of data with the help of the DSS as we earlier discussed about the DSS with BI. So with the help of the technology and the data models, it is easy to analyze any kind of data. We can store that data in data warehouse. We can extract that data using the ETL process and we can perform the analysis on it. So it gives us the information enrichment and the knowledge extraction from the data available inside the most organization. And with the help of the data visualization tools, it is very easy to analyze the large amount of data. Then the next factor is the human resources. So human resources act as assets of business organization. As a human resources, nothing but the employees who work on the technologies and who gives who gives the solution on any kind of a problem. So we can say that the human resource is the most important factor in the successful of the BI project. After that, the next point is the obstacles to business intelligence in organization. So what are the obstacles? In that, the first one is the lack of BI strategy. So what it means, organization should proactively define the problem they're trying to solve. So as we know that before moving to the solution, we should know the problem. And if the organization know the problem, then only they will be able to identify the right business intelligence solution that will suit their requirement. This is because once BI is implemented, executives should know the what are the advantages, or we can say what are the pros and cons of the solution they are using and how the solution could add value to them. Then we can follow one practice which gives us the solution on the lack of BI strategy, that is we will go for the assessment and the review of the existing processes, and after taking the review it will help to gather the critical requirement which are necessary for laying out a proper roadmap and which gives us the accurate solution for the problem. After that, the next obstacle is business intelligence when you don't know how to code. Okay, so as we know that we are a software engineer and we know the power of the coding, we can make any kind of software with the help of the coding. After that, the next one is the lack of training and the execution. So many time companies might have well
Excuse me, ma'am.
accurate,
Ma'am,
yes,
slides are not changing.
okay.
Yes, ma'am. Now it is
It,
changing.
yeah, okay, thank you. So our next point is lack of training and execution. So as we know that many times though the company having the well accurate requirement, but if the lack of technical skill is there, like the lack of technical skill in designing, building and maintaining, then it is not possible to implement the proper BI system over there. So the training and execution must be accurate while designing any kind of a business intelligence system. Then the next one is the lack of BI impact, that is low utilization. So in this case, what happened? Management might always wonder why there is no change in business result attribute to BI, and they feel that the business value of the BI investment is not captured. So what it indicates, the organization is not utilizing the BI solution properly with the global standard. This is because the executives are unclear on how their company could benefit from the BI. So they should know what are the advantages and how to use BI technologies according to their business. After that, the next point is the business intelligence with unstructured data. So as we know that data plays very important role while designing any kind of BI system or the visualization. For that, data must be structured and relevant. So most of the times data is unstructured for BI to analyze. So if the data is unstructured, then it is difficult to analyze that data. This lead to a problem when user need to perform the simple BI process. Business may invest in big data analytics but cannot complete the task in time due to such a kind of irrelevant data. So everyone must focus on the structured data. First try to form the unstructured data into the structure and then try to implement the BI technologies on given data set. Then the next one is the installation and deployment. So if we are unable to install the BI technologies on our system, then we are unable to perform any kind of operations on it. So proper installation and deployment must be done before executing the BI systems. So all these are the obstacles to business intelligence in an organization. Then our next topic is OLAP, that is online analytical processing. So what is the OLAP? It is nothing but the database. So OLAP database facilitate business intelligence queries. OLAP is a database technology that has been optimized for querying and reporting instead of processing transaction. Okay. So, all the SQL related queries are included in the OLAP. And whenever we are considering the term about the processing or the transaction, then it goes in another field, that is OLTP, Online Transaction Processing System. So why we use the OLAP? Basically, OLAP data is also organized hierarchically and stored in cubes instead of tables. Okay, so as shown here, instead of, as we know that whenever we are considering the any kind of database, we are think about that the structure of that data must be in form of the tables, that is data stored in column and rows manner. Instead of this, in OLAP, the data is stored in cube like this. These are my different dimensions. That is my data having the column like product, cities and time. Okay, so this is the structure of the OLAP. So it uses the multi-dimensional structure which provide the rapid access to data for the analysis purpose. Basically, it is easy to make the pivot table report or the pivot chart using the help of the OLAP database. So why need to use the OLAP database? As data stored in multidimensional structure, it gives us this more speed than the normal table while retrieving of a data. So the OLAP database are designed to speed up the retrieval of data because the OLAP server rather than the Microsoft Excel, it computes the summarized value. Less data need to be sent to Excel when you create or change the report. So this approach enable you to work with much larger amount of source data than could if the data were organized in traditional database. So this is the first advantage of the OLAP. Though the data is stored in multidimensional manner, it is easy to retrieve the data. So OLAP database contain the two basic type of data. So as we already known about the what is mean by the measure and what is mean by the dimension. So data in OLAP is stored in form of the measure and the dimension. So again the question is what is mean by the measure. So measure is nothing but the numeric data, or we can say that the quantities and average that you use to make informed business decisions. And what is the dimension? These are nothing but the categories, which are the category that you use to organize these measures. So simply we have to remember one thing only. Whenever we are considering the dimension, it gives us the field name, and whenever we are considering the measure, it gives us the field values. Again, there are some components of the OLAP. In that, the first one is the cube. So cube is nothing but the structure like this as shown here. So what is the cube? It is a data structure that aggregate the measure by labels and hierarchies of each dimension that you want to analyze. Then how to make a cube? Basically, it combines several dimensions such as shown in figure. It gives us the dimension like time, product, and the cities. Then the next thing is the measure. So the set of values which are stored in cube are nothing but the measure. And the next one is the member. So the member means what? An item in hierarchy representing one or more occurrences of a data, and that member can be unique or non-unique. Okay, so for example, suppose we are considering the years. Okay, year like now the current year is 2021, the previous one is 2020. These are the unique. But whenever we are considering the month of the year, then it gives us the non-unique data. That is every year having 12 months like Jan, Feb, March, etc. So all these months are appear in each year. That's why only the year is my unique data and the month of the year my non-unique data. After that, there are some operations which are performed on the OLAP. For that, I am going to show you one video. Watch it carefully. Please let me know it is audible or not. After playing the video, please write down in chat box.
video we are going to see very interesting topic and actually a very important topic of data mining and data warehouse, that is OLAP operations. In my previous video we have already seen in detail that what do we mean by OLAP, what is OLTP. Fine, we have seen the basic differences between them and what they actually do. We have seen those things in detail. Now in today's video here we are going to see what these
Yes,
OLAP
ma'am.
operations are all about, why they are needed. We will see these 5 OLAP operations in detail with the help of complete figures and examples. Fine. So let's get started. First of all, the question is, what are OLAP operations? So we can say that they are based on, let's see the basic definition that you can write if asked in the exam, and then we will try to understand it. So OLAP operations are nothing but they are based on multi-dimensional data model and allows the user to query on multi-dimensional data. OLAP cube is a data structure that is optimized for proper data analysis. Fine. So what did you understand by this? What are OLAP operations? We know that OLAP stands for online analytical processing. That means what? We are taking a huge amount of historical data or existing data. What we are doing is we are analyzing that data, we are observing that data, and based on the analysis we are providing result to the queries. So whenever we want to, so OLAP is all about that. Fine, to process the query and to provide result based on our analysis. So why these OLAP operations are needed? Whenever we are having multi-dimensional data like this, for example here you can see we are having one cube. This is actually known as OLAP cube. Here we are having 3-dimensional data: location, time and items. Fine. And so whenever we are having multi-dimensional data, that is 2D, 3D, 4D data, and we want to fire any query on this and we want to get any specific type of data from this, so what we can do, we can perform OLAP operations on this data cube to abstract that particular data that we want. Fine. So that is the main task of the OLAP operation. So these are the 5 main OLAP operations that we will see one by one, that how that can be applied on the OLAP cube to extract any details or to extract any data. Fine. Okay. So the 5 basic analytical operations that can be performed on OLAP cube, that means the 5 main OLAP operations are drill down, roll up, dice, slice and pivot. So let's see one by one. Now for example, this is the main data given to you. What this data is, we are having three-dimensional data. The 3 dimensions are location, time and item types. These are the 3 dimensions and their data is given to us. 3-dimensional data means nothing but we will be having 3 axes. In x-axis we are having item types, in y-axis we are having time, that is given in quarters Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and in z-axis we are having location in terms of cities. Now this Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 means what? Quarters are given in terms of quarters. 4 quarters are given. That means we know that we are having 12 months in a year. So if 4 quarters are given, that means each quarter contains 3 months. Fine. So instead of giving in year or in month, they have given the time in quarters. So basically this is the main data given to you, and what we will do is we will apply the operations one by one to abstract any specific data. Now let's see the example. First one is drill down. Now what do we mean by drill down operation? What happens in drill down? As the name itself indicates, we want to drill down into any specific information. That means what? If any information is given to us but we want the data or the information in more detail. Fine. There are 3 dimensions. If in case of any dimension we want its detailed information, what we will do? We will simply drill down. We will try to get detailed information or more information, digging that down. Fine. So this is about drill down. For example, let's see the example. If you are told that find out, apply, if you are told to apply drill down on time. Drill down on time means time is one of the dimensions. The 3 dimensions are location, time and item types. What we want here, we want to drill down or to get detailed information in case of this time. So whenever this type of question is asked, that drill down on time, so what we can do is we have to drill down on this particular dimension time, that means the dimensions, that is location and item types, will be as it is. We are not going to change them. So the location, in the location cities, these 4 cities were there, so they will be as it is. These 4 item types will be there. There were 4 item types, so they are as it is. Now what we want to do is we want to drill down on time. Now previously the time was given to us in terms of quarters, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Fine. But now we want to get more detail. So as I told, in one quarter, basically we are having 3 months. So in this, what we will do is, instead of writing them in 4 quarters, we will divide them into complete 12 months. Fine. So what we have done here, only 4 rows were there for Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Here we have made 12 rows with all the months, with having the information of all the months. Here we were getting only the information of 4 quarters, but here we will get specific information of all the month individually. Fine. So we can say that by this figure we can say that what we have done here, we have simply drilled down on time. That means these 2 dimensions are as it is, and we have drilled down or gone into detail into this dimension time. Fine, got it? Okay. Now what is our second operation? Our second operation is roll up. So you can remember it like, roll up is nothing but it is kind of exactly opposite to drill down. In drill down, what we used to do, whatever information is there, if we want more detailed information, we used to drill down. So just the opposite happens in roll up. Roll up means what? Whatever detail is given to us, if we want one level above information, that means we don't want that much detailed information, we want overall information, some generalized information, then we can use roll up. It is simply opposite to drill down. So let's see with the help of example. If we are applying roll up on location, then what will happen? Earlier in the given cube, we were having in location, the information were given in terms of cities. We were having 4 cities, Chicago, New York, Delhi and Mumbai. We know that Chicago and New York are of USA and Delhi and Mumbai are of India. Fine. So what they are telling now is, we want to roll up on this location. Rolling up means we don't want these detailed information, we want just generalized information. So what we can do is, instead of dividing into 4 parts or each of one city, what we can do, we can simply roll it up, and we can just provide 2 information instead of 4 informations. We can just provide 2 informations in terms of country. So instead of Chicago and New York individually, we can provide it as one information of USA, and instead of Delhi and Mumbai 2 information, we can simply give it in one information of USA, of India. So what we have done, instead of dividing or instead of giving the information of particular cities, we have just merged the cities into countries, and now we have rolled it up, and we will just provide the information in terms of country. So again, here also we want to roll up on location. So quarters and the items, these will remain as it is. We just have to roll up on this location. So instead of now 4 rows and 4 columns, we are just having columns are as it is, we are just having 2 rows. Fine. Earlier we were having 16 cells, now we will have only 8 cells. Fine. So roll up is just opposite to drill down. In drill down, our number of columns and rows were increasing, but in case of roll up, we want generalized information, so our number of rows and columns will decrease. Fine. So this is all about roll up. Now our third operation is dice. Now what do we mean by dice? You must be knowing that in games we are using dice. In Ludo we have dice. Fine. So when dice is used, whenever we want any small part, see, this is the whole cube given to us. Now whenever we want any small part of the cube, any small information in the form of any small part of cube, then we can extract it with the help of this dice. How? For example, if any query given to you that we want only the information regarding Delhi and Mumbai, regarding the quarters of quarter 1 and quarter 2, and only regarding the items Mumbai and modem, only regarding the items mobile and modem. Fine. If any such query is there, so you can only pick up this much part of cube, that will become like this, and it is known as dice operation. So we are only showing the and details of Delhi and Mumbai, Q1 and Q2 quarters, and mobile and modem, these two items. Fine. So this is what dice is. Simply remember that in dice we want to pick up a small part of the cube from the whole cube. Fine. So this is all about dice operation. Now the fourth operation is slice. Now you must be knowing what, basically when we are using the word slice, in terms of fruits or vegetables, like right, we are doing one slice of apple, one slice of mango, right? So doing slice of fruits means what? We are simply cutting it from one side, like making slice like this or making slice vertically. Fine, that is what we mean by slice. So similar thing will happen here. Slice operation means what? This whole cube is there and I just want to take one upper slice from it. So it is known as slice. Like you can see here example. For example, this is the cube given to us. What we want is, we simply want the first level slice of it. This I want to divide it from here. Fine, I want to divide it from here. So only this upper slice I want. So if I make the slice like this, what data I will have? I will have these four locations as it is: Chicago, New York, Delhi, Mumbai, and I will have these four items as it is: mobile, modem, PC, and laptop. Fine. But obviously if I am breaking it like this, I am making a slice of it, I will not get the details of the quarters, but I will get these informations. Fine. So after doing slice operation on this cube, I will get something like this. Fine. So this is what slice operation is. And the last one is pivot. Now as the name itself indicates, pivot, you must know that what is pivot? Pivot means nothing but rotate. Just remember that pivot means rotate. So it is simple one. When any data like this is given and you are told that apply pivot on this. So pivot means what? You simply need to rotate it once. So after rotating it once, consider that C and DM, that is here. Like C and DM is nothing but these locations, right? The initial of the locations. So after rotating it once, what I will get is C and DM will come here and MMPCL, it will come this side. Fine. So I am just rotating it once. These dimensions will come here and these dimensions will come here. So pivot is nothing but simply rotating any given data that is given to you. So the dimensions will change, nothing else. Fine. So these were the main OLAP operations. We have seen them in detail. If you want, you can take a snapshot of this so that it can be helpful. You can make notes or it can be helpful to you in your exam. You can take the note of it. So I hope you have understood all the operations properly. If you like the video
So I hope you understood all the operations which are performed on the OLAP. Okay. I have shared the link of video on my Moodle site, so you can refer this. After that, the next type is the types of OLAP server. Before that, the what is use of the server and why we use the OLAP servers or the types of the OLAP server. Basically, these servers allow the analyst to get an insight of the information through fast, consistent, and interactive access to information. Okay, so as we know that we can directly access the data from the server, and which is in form of the, which we can say that this is the updated data which we can directly fetch from the server. So the first type is the OLAP, that is relational OLAP. After that, the multi-dimensional OLAP and the hybrid. So what is meant by the relational OLAP? Basically, these servers are work very efficiently with the relational database. Okay, as we know about the RDBMS. So RDBMS analyze the large amount of data. It store the large amount of data. But when the data is large, the query performance is poor because we know that whenever we are firing any query, it take more time to execute. So Rollup gives us the poor query performance. Then the Rollup tool store and analyze the highly volatile data. So volatile data means what? The temporary data, which is in form of which keep on changing along the time. And as we know that we are directly accessing the data from the server, it gives us the updated data. Then who can access this data or who can access this server? As we know that the data stored in the RDBMS form, it contains the large amount of data. To handle the relational OLAP, we need the expertise because only expertise person can deal with the OLAP. As we are dealing with the large amount of data, dealing with the highly volatile data, so it is not an easy task. So we require the expertise or the knowledgeable person to deal with the OLAP. Then the next type is the multi-dimensional. So we are dealing with the multi-dimensional data. When we are having multi-dimensional data like 2D, 3D, okay. So as we see earlier, though the data is stored in form of the dimension, it is easy to use that data and the information retrieval is fast. So why information retrieval is fast? Because we are going to access the data with the help of the indexing. So as we know that how to access the data from the matrix format, we just need to mention the index. Though the multidimensional data is not very huge, so it only perform the complex computations. But if the data is in form of the high dimension, like we can say that the data in form of the 10 into 11 dimensional, then at that time it is not possible to execute that data. So it gives us the poor performance in kind of the DBMS facility, and it is not capable of containing the detailed data. It store only the relevant data. Then the next type is the hybrid OLAP. So hybrid OLAP contains the advantages of both, that is the ROLAP and the MOLAP. Now, there are some real-time products whether the OLAP is used, like IBM Cognos, Oracle OLAP, and the Oracle Essbase. Then the next one is the online transaction processing, that is OLTP. So basically we use the OLTP to perform the operations like insert, update and the delete. The system have detailed day-to-day transaction data which keeps changing on everyday basis. So this is one example of the OLTP. As shown here, the ATM machine's picture is given. So suppose you have to assume one scenario to understand the concept of the OLTP, how it helps in the ATM machine operation. Assume that a couple has joint account with a bank. One day, both simultaneously reach different ATM centers at precisely the same time and want to withdraw a total amount present in their bank account. Okay. So, however, the person that complete the authentication process first will be able to get money, right? So in this case, the OLTP system makes sure that the withdraw amount will be never more than the amount present in the bank. So the key to note here is that OLTP system are optimized for transactional superiority instead of the data analysis. So this is the first big difference between the OLAP and the OLTP. OLTP perform the transactional operations only, whether OLAP is used for the data analysis purpose. These are some another examples of the OLTP like online banking, airline ticket booking, sending a text message, order entry, add a book to shopping cart. Okay. Then there are some characteristics of the OLTP. So the first one is the process a large number of relatively simple transaction. So as we discussed earlier, it perform the transaction like insertion, update, deletion of data. Then the next characteristics is that it enables the multi-user access to the same data while ensuring the data integrity. So as earlier we've seen one example of the transaction of the ATM. So multiple user can access the same data. After that, it provides the indexes data sets. That's why we can easily perform the query operations like searching and retrieval of data. And the most important one is the OLTP is available for 24 by 7. Okay. Now, what are the difference between the OLTP and the OLAP? So basically, OLTP is the business process, whether the OLAP is the analytic process, and we can perform the analysis on whatever data is stored in the warehouse. So the OLTP is a transactional process and the OLAP is used for the online analysis and the retrieval. Then OLTP, it is characterized by a large number of short online transactions, whether the OLAP is characterized by large volume of data. In OLTP, we are performing the operations like the modification, but in OLAP, we are performing the operation on the data analysis. Also, the OLTP is our traditional DBMS system, whether the OLAP uses the data warehouse.